This is 10.6b of geometry. So circumference of a circle is the distance around the circle. Okay, and you've probably heard of this number pi, right? And that we get that from the ratio of the circumference to its diameter. Okay, just a little side fact, that's pretty cool. We have two equations for circumference, one that uses diameter and one that uses radius. So it's either pi d, so the circumference is equal to pi d, or circumference is equal to 2 pi r, which makes sense, right, because it takes two radiuses to make a diameter. Okay, so these pictured are concentric circles, okay, and that's coplanar circles, which means they're on the same plane, and that have the same center. So here's a nice dude with a mustache, but we're going to do this car problem. So a car has a circular turning radius of 16.1 feet, so they've written that in our picture. The distance between the two front tires is 4.7 feet. How much farther does a tire on the outside of the turn travel than a tire on the inside? So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to do circumference of the big circle minus the circumference of the little circle. So we're working with radius, so C equals 2 pi r, right? And well, we can keep that, but our radius of our big circle, we were told, was 16.1 feet. So 2 pi times 16.1. Sometimes they tell you to keep your answer in terms of pi. That means they want pi left in the answer, okay? So then you'd only multiply the numbers and not the pi. In this case, they don't specify that, so we're going to get a decimal. So 2 pi 16.1 gives us about 101.2, okay, and that's feet. Then we need to do the circumference of the little circle, so 2 pi r. This time we're talking about the little circumference, which isn't labeled. Okay, we need to know this distance. But if you look at this, it's the big radius minus just this little piece. So we can do 16.1 minus the 4.7, which 16.1 minus 4.7 gives us 11.4. So the radius of this one is 11.4. So 2 times pi times 11.4 gives us about 71.6. Now, we're a little not straight, but we're going to do 101.2 minus 71.6. 101.2 minus 71.6 gives us 29.6 feet. So that outside tire is going almost 30 feet further than the inside tire. Kind of crazy. Okay, arc length. So if we, let me draw something to the side for a second. If I asked you how much of a circle this is, let's say it's a right angle, right? You know that there's 4 right angles in a circle, right? So this would be 1/4 of the circle. And if I gave you this and I wanted to know how much of the circle that is, obviously that's half, right? 180 is half of the circle. Well, we can figure out exactly how much of a circle we're talking about if we know the angle measure. So let's say we have a 45-degree angle. I can figure that out by doing 45 divided by 360 to figure out how much that is, and that ends up being 1/8. It's okay if you just have the decimal and don't simplify the fraction, but if I can figure out how much of a circle we're talking about, and I know how much my circumference is, then I can figure out the arc length in terms of like meters, centimeters, inches, feet, that kind of thing. And that's where I use this equation. Okay? The angle divided by 360 times the circumference. So either the 2 pi r, or you could use pi d if you want. So our got it problem wants to know what is the length of a semicircle. So here's our semicircle. We're looking for this arc length with a radius of 1.3. Okay, so that's this distance, the radius, right? 1.3 meters. So if we're talking about a semicircle, we're talking about 180 degrees, right? So 180 over 360 times, and then we need to calculate the circumference. So 2 pi r, so 2 pi 1.3. It says leave your answer in terms of pi. So I'm going to multiply the 180 divided by 360 times 2 times 1.3, and I'm just going to leave pi in my answer. So 180 divided by 360, that's just 1/2, times 2 times 1.3 gives us 1.3. So this is 1.3 pi meters. Let's do another one that's not as easy as a semicircle. So let's say we have a circle with, how about we say 65 degrees and a radius of 2.4 inches. Okay, so our angle is 65, put that over 360, times, and we need to figure out what our circumference is. So 2 pi times 2.4. This is going to give us this little piece here, how long that is right there. Okay, so 65 divided by 360, it's about 0.18, times 2 times 2.4 gives us 0.87 pi. And there's your homework.